We're back to this same old routine that has happened so many times now, it's basically become a parody of itself. We've seen it with games like the Veilguard, there's been many others over the years, but it's where a company, in this case Obsidian, they announce, show off a game properly, like they did recently with the Outer Worlds 2. Everyone can use their eyes, see this looks rubbish, see that they haven't improved anything. They can see it's the same old developers who are there who don't like their audience, the same old crap that the game is filled with. It just doesn't look very good at all, and that's kind of the consensus with gamers, that this looks rubbish, this looks crap, we don't want to spend any money on it, and it's $80, you actually want more for this? Now you must be joking, just completely forget it, we don't want to hear it, we don't want it. That was kind of the consensus. But of course, the Microsofts of the world who own Obsidian, own these game studios, they can't have that, so they roll out the usual routine, which is what we're getting. It's what we've gotten many times now, which is we start getting the previews before the big release. The game's not out yet, we haven't even got reviews, but we get these previews from the usual suspects mostly. And it's all the gaming sites that really should be shut down, like these Games Radars, IGN, and everyone else, where it's like, why do you exist now? We know no one reads or watches any of your content. You're useless. The people who write for you and are supposed experts, writing, gaming journalists, whatever they are, no one takes you seriously. You've got no talent. That's why you're doing this. You showed your true colors years ago. You don't even like games. You want to be political writers, but everyone can see you're fraud, so you're stuck here for some reason. Why do you exist? Who's paying for this? Well, it becomes crystal clear, and this has been known for ages, but just to spell it out, Games Radar, all of these different outlets, they just exist to shill for the games, especially before release, so that the gullible people won't cancel or they will actually pre-order and they will spend their money before the game comes out based on hype and false promises, basically. That's all this seems to be. This has happened so many times now that a game looks terrible and then the previews are saying all these promising things, the studio, they're back in form, this is their next big thing. They even tried this, again, with the Veilguard, where it was just a joke at that point, where you could see it. There was nothing promising whatsoever. Anyone who wasn't blind could see that there was something wrong, but the previews tried to convince everyone it's all going to be okay. They even kept the con going for the reviews. I think they came out before the release, and it was only after it came out where it was like, no, they were all lying to you. It was all a big farce. This game was as terrible as it looked. You should have trusted your eyes. And pretty much every time, at least 99 times out of 100, when a game looks bad, they're not hiding the good stuff. That's it. The big flashy trailers that they show off, all the gameplay footage, those are the best bits. They've tried to cobble together the best parts of the game. If that looks awful, you kind of know what you're going to get. So these outlets, they purely exist to lie to everyone and try and bring back that hype from all those years ago. Remember when everyone was pumped for Cyberpunk and it was really going to be the next best thing? As I've said many times, I actually liked the game. I just remember back when was it, 2019 or something, when people were genuinely hyping it up as the game. Like, this is going to be the best game of all time. That was pretty much the narrative that was going around, and everyone wanted to sort of grasp onto that hype and ride that hype, whether it was these game journalists or anyone else. And then it came out and it was like, nah, this was all bullshit, basically. It's just a pretty standard video game for the most part. Pretty good game, I would say now, but back then, clearly there was something odd going on with all this insane hype going to the moon, and it didn't quite work out like that. So they always want to bring that back for the latest game coming out. And you can kind of see why. Obsidian, when they were independent, no one really had to suck up to them. Sure, some of these outlets probably liked them, mostly because the studio was over the hill by then, and most of the people who worked there belonged in the asylum with the journalists, so they were kind of allies. Obsidian rarely got shat on by any of these mainstream outlets, but it's a bit different now with Microsoft, because it's like, if you say anything bad about the Outer Worlds 2, you say something bad about one of Microsoft's 40 plus studios, how many they have, if you do that, you're going to lose the one thing you still have, which is access to the games before they come out. If they lose that, they literally have nothing. And Microsoft can say, you shat on this game, you're not getting access to the other 39 games from the other teams. So there's a clear incentive. They don't even have to get paid, really. It's not like there's money under the table. Who's going to pay these clowns? They're just shills because they have to be, because they need that pre-release access. So that seems to be part of it. Maybe there's more going on, but it's happened way too many times where before these games come out, it's totally shill mode. Then the game comes out, they backtrack, and they've got really no excuse for why they were saying this was so good. It looks like it's happening with The Outer Worlds 2. If you don't believe me, just look at this preview. The Outer Worlds 2 is the next hit for true RPG sickos. Get excited. Games Radar. And they've literally put in the description here, after just 1 hour of The Outer Worlds 2, we're convinced that Obsidian is going back to its RPG roots. We're back. This is it. Obsidian. Return to form like BioWare with the Veilguard. After 1 hour's playtime. How many times do you play an RPG and then all your choices, all the decisions that you're making in the game, those real role-playing aspects, they all come out and show themselves in force within an hour? 60 minutes of playtime. I don't remember that. Maybe you get a nice set piece at the start, they set up a bit of the story, maybe you make a decision or two, but it probably hasn't paid off. That's what you get in an hour. The idea that you know this game is good and it's the next big hit for the RPG sickos, you're just lying. You don't know what's going on with the game. And that's what I'd say the more honest people have said, is like they're very safe previews that they've trotted out. They don't really show anything. They don't show enough for you to kind of realize this game isn't very good. So you can't really say it sucks yet, but you also can't say it's good. There's nothing they've shown that actually suggests this is a game of quality. It's clearly a step above The Outer Worlds 1, which in retrospect, I think most people acknowledge was kind of mediocre. It had some hype. It was riding high on the disappointment of Fallout 76 back when, but all in all, it was pretty ordinary. It was probably worse than pretty much all of Bethesda's Fallouts and everything that they've done. And this was meant to be like the return to form. It's got the original creators of Fallout. They've got the money. They can do what they want. And they just made something bog average, safe. And it seems like they're doing similar with The Outer Worlds 2. Given the previews, they've shown almost nothing. But Games Radar wants to shill for them anyway, because that's all they're good for. That's why they exist, is to shill for Microsoft and all the other big conglomerates. But it's not just the gaming outlets saying good things. You've got Reset Era. It's an administrator. It's a mod of Reset Era. They're pretty sane. Everyone I know who has had a chance to play this game came away glowing about it. Sounds amazing. Who are these people? It must be the same people, the gaming outlets. They're the only people who would talk to you, those clowns who work there for the Game Informers, GameSpots, whoever they are now. I forget their names, they keep getting bored out by each other, so they're all disappearing and just morphing into each other. The Outer Worlds one was a very special game for me, and Avowed is in the running for my Game of the Year this year, so I'm 100% signed up to anything Obsidian put out. So these are the sorts of people saying it looks amazing, people who thought Avowed was Game of the Year. So keep that in mind. Anytime you see someone saying anything positive, what did they think of Avowed? What did they think of the Veilguard? Because you might find there's a bit of crossover with these people, where Outer Worlds 2's looking amazing, but so was the Veilguard, so was Avowed. It seems they'll never criticize any of these games, because it's not about the games for these people. It's the right developers, the people who are in there. They've got blue hair, they've got purple hair. Those are the people who should be running the world, if anything, so I'm going to prop up their games. It's the right thing to do. That's how they think on the Purple Forum, all of these people. It's never about the video games. They don't care. How could it be if Avowed is your Game of the Year? Shows true colors. That's really it. But coming back to those previews, I mentioned some people are trying to be honest, and it's more the independents, less so than the Games Radar and things like that. So you had some people like Matty and Mortismal who are on the same wavelength about The Outer Worlds 2. And this person is trying to use this as proof. Here on Reddit, they're trying to use this as proof that Obsidian are firing on all cylinders. They're not done. They're in their peak, if anything, because look at what these guys are saying about the game so far. So for The Outer Worlds 2, it's showing real progress as an RPG with stronger role-playing mechanics and more reactivity than the first game. So this is meant to be, get excited, guys, because it's showing progress as an RPG. Like, you had concerns? Look at this. This is going to be something special. And it's like, they've been in business for 20 plus years making role-playing games. They're meant to be the experts. They've got the money, they've got the backing now, there's not really any excuses. And the Outer Worlds 2 is what they've got to show for it after all this time. Why is this acceptable to fans when 10 plus years ago, you could make New Vegas, you're making it off an engine that you didn't really know you had time constraints, but it seems you had the talent to make something special that is still remembered. It even eclipsed Bethesda's own game of the time that had way more time and budget and people behind it compared to New Vegas. You had others as well. You had Knights of the Old Republic 2. There were many from that time that you made that are still beloved today. And yet now we're supposed to be content because you're making progress as an RPG. It's just pathetic because it's very clear it's the personnel that are the problem. You've gone downhill. The people who work there are worse than who were there before. You're getting worse as a company, as a gaming company. You're not really making very good RPGs. At best, they're acceptable. It's like, yeah, if it's in a bargain bin, I might give it a go. And that's what we're meant to get excited about. You get these people who act like, no, it doesn't look too bad. So this narrative that Obsidian are over, it's just bullshit. It's just rages. It's just grifters. It's these just angry mob online, anti-woke. This is their defense. But the preview is too limited and too safe to prove it can stick the landing. That's what people who've played it have said. From what we played, it was too limited, too safe, at least the preview. And again, that's meant to be more proof that, no, Obsidian are not done. It was just the preview that was the problem. Again, this idea that these companies are hiding the good stuff, they're like, no, we don't want to spoil the good stuff too early and get you too excited. We'll just show you something bland so you get a taste. We'll show you the great stuff later. After you buy it. We'll just hope that you buy it and then show you all the presents, show you all the amazing stuff. This never happens in the industry. They are going to show you the best bits. They want you to buy it. They're desperate for you to buy it. They were hoping you would buy it for $80, but no one was. They weren't getting any pre-orders. They were likely down from projections, and that's why they changed their mind. Like the idea, we listen to feedback. No, you listen to the spreadsheet. You listen to the numbers. And in a panic, you drop the price. And it's because your game looked like shit and no one was interested. And your preview looked the same. It looked safe, it looked limited, which is what people complained about with the first one. It was too safe. You have all this talent, supposedly. It was really just leadership who'd made some good games in the past. No evidence the people working on the game have really ever done anything good. It's just the same old idiots in the industry who've been ruining it for the last decade, basically. And they just never get moved on, it seems. If you want to take a risk, even forget about the game. Take a risk and fire these people and bring some new blood in. People who are actually passionate about RPGs, not the ones who impressed HR because they were saying the right things in the interview, social commentary, and they're going to fit in with the company culture. That seems to be what you hire based on, not those who are actually passionate about this genre. So it just looks like more of the same, and that's what people are concerned about. And more of the same is going to kill this. It's probably going to kill the studio because we live in a world now in gaming where your game needs to be something special if it's going to take off with word of mouth and get people playing. This is on Game Pass as well. So if this is it, if this is the best that you can do, no one's going to spend any money on it. At best, you might get a few subscriptions for a month. People check it out, realize it's just the same old crap, and they move on. It's not going to move the needle. And games that have got better receptions, Hi-Fi Rush, it never had any controversy around it. It got shadow dropped, people could play it immediately, there was positive word of mouth, and they still closed the studio. So I don't think Obsidian, anyone should get very confident. I mean, I don't think they'll close them because of Grounded and they can just be turned into a live service, just slot factory, basically. But in terms of RPGs, single-player focused, made with 200-plus team members, pretty big budgets, I can't see that continuing if this is the best that they can do, and these are the defenses. And again, this is another point, supposedly, to defend them. Neither think it's doomed. It's more in the, this could be good, but we need to see more. We don't really know camp. So these, I'd say they're probably honest previews, but using them as a defense, this game's fine. Those outrage merchants, don't listen to them. Well, no one's disproving the fact that you use your eyes and it just looks terrible. No one's disputed that. And the guys who are just more focused on trying to be objective, show you the game, go through it like a review, and what's the combat look like, what do the systems look like, they're saying nothing good either, but they're also just not going to be the people who come out and go, forget all that, this looks bland, this looks not like something anyone's going to want to spend any money on. $80, forget that. I mean, bargain bin, and you're still umming and ahhing about something like this. There's too much out there. There's older RPGs people haven't played because so much has come out. They're going to get excited for this. No. This day and age, you have to be absolutely pumped, and this is a game like Expedition 33 or Elden Ring Baldur's Gate 3, those games that you don't want to miss out on. That fear of missing out, where you're going, I need to play this day one, I don't want to get spoiled, I want to be part of this, everything that's happening. This could be one of those moments. I was there, at least in a gaming context. For Outer Worlds 2, you'd be embarrassed to tell anyone you were even playing it, so it's not going to do that. People aren't going to part with their money based on this. It's just a pathetic looking game. That's really been the consensus for the most part. You venture outside of Reddit and you can't find anyone excited. Oh, there was that one Reset era guy, but that aside, you see this too, there's someone else trying to defend it at all costs, and they're accusing other people of coping. I love this. The Outer Worlds 2 proves the Obsidian is done Doom posting was just racist cope. When the companion trailer for the Outer Worlds 2 dropped, the internet lost it. Obsidian is finished because some of the characters weren't white. To be honest, I think people thought it was over for Obsidian with Avowed, like this was coming as well. It's like, well, you're releasing two duds in the same year. In hindsight, it was probably a mistake. You should have waited for feedback on Avowed, learn from that with the Outer Worlds 2. But because they released too close, you couldn't learn from it. So you're stuck with this dud as well, where it's the same old culture push. They and probably Microsoft are also out of touch with all of this stuff, given how badly they've managed every one of their studios, it seems like. They release Outer Worlds 2, no time for feedback, and you reap what you sow, basically. And he goes on to say, actual gameplay previews, they tell a different story. RPG systems are deeper with more skill checks, branching choices, integrated character backstories. How do you really know all this given the previews were safe and people were only allowed to play for an hour or something and it was like the beginning of the game? But no, RPG systems are definitely deeper. Just because you have the box and you pick a skill does not mean that actually meaningfully impacts the game. You can pick all the skills in the world, but if they're barely used or actually matter when you're actually going through the whole thing, what is it, a 20, 30 plus hour experience, you would think? If it doesn't matter, then it was a worthless system and it was just fluff. And there's plenty of games like that. You can't judge it after an hour. That's why that whole Game Informer thing of, we played for an hour, Obsidian are back. That's why that is a joke, because you can't meaningfully utilize these skills and see how it plays out. So that's nonsense. It's the same with the branching choices. Where do those branches lead? You don't know. They could be nothing. It could be like a Telltale experience for all we know. We haven't seen that yet. So, nice try. The world looks bigger. In 2025, no one wants to hear that. A game's bigger? Wow, let me part with my money right now. Where do I sign? Where do I get this? No. Almost always it means more bloat, it means more copy and pasted, just the same old generic crap around the map, and there's no heart, it's not interesting, there's no passion in it. Take us back to when gamers were smaller experiences, it was more handcrafted, and it felt like the developers actually cared, and it wasn't just like a conveyor belt, a machine, like we see with so many of these bloated companies when they make these games. Bigger does not mean better. Starfield, which I'm sure was advertised, it's 100 times, million times bigger than Skyrim. And they weren't lying, because you had all these planets, hundreds, thousands of planets, with nothing on them. It was procedurally generated, and at random, the content that could be generated was tiny, it didn't make sense, and it was a ball fest. People are still laughing at it. Bethesda are probably never going to recover. So that's what bigger can mean. I'm sure that in this context, it's just a bit bigger than the Outer Worlds 1, but it means nothing. Unless the content is actually better in itself, it doesn't matter. More mediocrity, more crap, no thanks. More colourful. So I remember the criticisms of the Outer Worlds 1, the colour scheme and everything. I didn't really care that much. I didn't think it looked necessarily very good. But Again, that's not going to save the game if the art's been slightly improved, and it's not really real anyway. Given this person's post and that they're, people are racist, more colourful probably just means the characters. It doesn't even mean the art style, so I don't want to listen to that. It's more reactive than the Outer Worlds one. Keeps going on about these systems and everything, and it's really an RPG. You just don't know that. You're just listening to the idiots who do the previews, the mainstream outlets who don't know anything. They said that the Veilguard was BioWare are back, and then they were backpedaling hastily after it actually released. You don't know. They don't know. Combat and stealth. So this is meant to be the 3 big points that prove that Obsidian are back and everyone who criticised it is a racist. This is one of the big 3 points. Combat and stealth need refinement, and the prologue preview was cautious, but that's normal. So apparently this is normal because combat and stealth, they've never been that good in Obsidian games anyway. And this is one of their big 3 selling points, supposedly, that prove that you're a racist, is combat and stealth need refinement. That's the best they've got. The systems aren't even that good. The gameplay's not that great, but these elements have never been so good for Obsidian games anyway. So it's normal. Stop complaining. Why are you complaining? I'm sensing another agenda here. It must be because there's not enough white people in the game. That's where some of these people are at. They're accusing people of coping. This is it. He finishes here. Honestly, it feels a lot like Avowed before release. Safe first showing, solid foundation, fans and creators had reason to be cautiously optimistic. Was anyone really optimistic once we learned more about the game? I think it kept getting worse for them, actually. What happened with Avowed, the story of Avowed, was it started off with a bang. The very first trailer, the tone, talking about this is going to be Obsidian's Skyrim. Their words, not mine, because that always gets changed. It doesn't have to be like Skyrim. They said that. So they said it originally. That was their vision, to make it Obsidian's Skyrim, and then they changed it, which suggested a troubled development. That was actually proven. There were a lot of changing of hands. The directors kept leaving or getting fired or whatever. The game was just a mess in development. But started strong. People were excited. And then over time, people lost interest. It started to look like a bit of a joke. It looked cheap, washed out. There was something just weird about the art style and the graphics. We learned that the team themselves were weird and insane, hated the audience, were saying weird things in private messages that got leaked. So behind closed doors, not even just on Twitter, being strange. Literally saying behind closed doors, like, we hate these people, we want to make Elon Musk angry. That's our goal as video game developers. These are the sorts of people working at Obsidian, and then you get these clowns saying, Obsidian's not going anywhere. The Outer Worlds 2 probably won't flop. That's the big defense. That's how confident they are in all this. Everyone's a racist hating this. The game probably won't flop. It's probably going to be fine. I think it's going to be a massive flop. Again, the industry has just changed. You have to have a banger. You basically have to go to 100. It's got to be something very special to get word of mouth out there. Get people pumped. Get everyone playing it, talking about it, telling others, you have to buy this. You don't want to miss out on this. Something middling, it just doesn't survive in today's video game landscape. And this is exactly that. Just more mediocrity, more of the same of a game that was never special. That over time, more and more people come out and go, you know what, it wasn't that good. I revisited it. Why did I think I ever liked this? It sucked. That's modern Obsidian for you. But we'll leave it there. Thanks for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.